So in this video, I'm pretty much going to be going over all the suspects that I have in the Kylan and Crystal case. So Kylan, Schultz and Crystal Turner in Moab and Utah. So I'm pretty much going over the suspects that I've found on, and some of the main suspects. So the first dude so basically this video I'm going to talk about a few suspects. So my first guy that I gave all the info to police and emailed all the stuff and that. I can't actually talk too much about that dude because I can't mention names and that kind of thing. He doesn't have a criminal record as far as I can tell, but there's a few things about him that stood out. And yeah, all that info I've forwarded. But so my second guy was Dylan Wade Spellman. It's a guy that I need to get a bit more info about. I still want to find out. I haven't been able to find out any info about where he is now. We don't know. No one's been able to find out. And there's a couple of people that reached out to me and said that I might be onto something with this guy, which is cool. I've got one person in Germany that I'm talking to, so yeah, keep in touch because I've forwarded all the info that I've got for this guy. I've got so much info on Spellman, and it's just the point of going through everything, and it takes so long. It's like you get one thing and you think you're onto something, and then I do think we need to find this guy. Actually, what was interesting just today, one of the websites I was looking at about him, this tweet came up from 2019. Dylan Spellman is certainly creepy looking. His eyes are disturbing and frightening. So that was a tweet that actually came up about Spellman in 2019, I think. Someone was messaging me about him the other day saying that he was on the TV in the States. They replayed the Molly Olgin case. They replayed it, which is cool because it gets that back out there, and it gets. I believe that they are connected. I believe that I believe it's too strange to have this. There's so many similarities, like female couple, lesbians. You've got the duct tape. You know, we don't know the color of the duct tape, but also the duct tape from the first crime. Cigarettes. The cigarettes, they knew exactly what brand his were at that crime scene, but we don't know about the cigarettes in Moab. The two other dudes from that first crime in Nevada I've been looking at, and they got anti-LGBTQ stuff on their Facebook and everything. But I was watching a few of YouTube videos about this, and with Kylan's dad and with the private investigator, and it's this dude, man. You gotta say what an awesome guy. He's doing all this for free. The private investigator, but they do bring up a good point. That at the end of the day, whatever we do, it doesn't matter because we can't go and arrest this person. The police need to do it. So it doesn't matter, like we can do all this, do that, but I think if we work and actually find the guy and give it to the police, it does make a difference. But yeah, they do bring up a good point. End of the day, it's like we can't just go and arrest this person if we think they've done it. We have to have pure evidence as well. And then at the end of the day, even if you do have that, you can't arrest the guy. At the end of the day, the police are going to have to arrest the dude. So yeah, I'll talk about those guys, Spellman, and a little bit about Brian Laundrie. What it always gets brought up. I think sometimes it gets brought up too much. But yeah, if I go back to Spellman from the Molly Olgin case, there was one thing that really stood out for me. And so Strickland's in jail. Strickland's been convicted of that. Spellman's pubic hair is found on the underwear of Molly Olgin. This is years later. We don't know that. But while he's in jail, just before the trial, while Strickland's in jail, just before the trial, a local gun shop owner in Corpus Christi in Texas was shot and killed. And the police believe it was targeted. And that just points straight to Spellman. It's also a fact that this person's wife used to work at the 7-Eleven that was on the corner. The 7-Eleven that Spellman got money out of the same night. The 7-Eleven that one of his girlfriends worked at on the corner. It's too much of a coincidence with this guy. I mean, my thing is we need to find out where he lives. We need to find as much information as we can. If you can help me out, I can't find any information, man. Like, I'm searching for this guy. He might have changed his name. He might have done something, but I believe, for me, he's the number one suspect, which is Dylan Wade Spellman. And he's been involved in 2 previous crimes very similar to this. John Holt is a suspect. We've managed to find out all that. All the timelines and stuff with John Holt kind of match up, and the fact that he did have guns, all the stuff that he said. One of the videos I've made before, I thought that the tent was Gabby Petito's tent, but I also thought the place where they were staying, the grass in the area looked very similar to Kylan and Crystal's campsite. Yeah, so I'm just going to talk about the Brian Laundrie, because it does always come up. And initially when this came out, I thought that Brian had done it. I thought that Gabby actually got killed around the same time. That was what I thought, because the flight back, when he flew back to Florida, which was very soon after that, and apparently he flew back to Florida, left her in Salt Lake City in Utah by herself. And I thought that was very strange, because of she was in an abusive relationship, and they don't leave. If someone's in an abusive relationship, they don't leave the missus. Like, they control them, basically. So it's very weird that they would leave them for a week by themselves. And then it was weird as well, because he went back during that time and then went into the storage unit. And so I initially thought that Gabby was not alive then, that some time around the same time, around 14th, 15th, Brian was involved with it, because if you looked at the Instagram, everything after that, they're not together, Gabby and Brian. Like, everything is either he's set the camera up by himself, or It's old photos. So when they released their first YouTube video, which was on the 19th of August, those were all old videos. So that made me think initially that he's involved in it, but I don't think so. I mean, it's just weird that because of strangulation is the cause of death, it's very strange that someone would shoot two people, and then strangle his missus. Because usually what you find out is people with strangulation, like especially with the serial killers and all those kind of people, they use that method every time. So every time they kill someone, they use the same method. You know, it's possible. It still could be him, but I think keep looking for other suspects. And so we got him, we got John Holt, and then I've got two other people. Well, Spellman is my top one. Everyone knows that. But yeah, with the Brian Laundrie thing and the John Holt, and if you saw my previous video, I actually thought I had the pictures, so I took the pictures from John Holt's Facebook profiles and his the fake one that he set up, that it was on the Dispersed Camping Facebook pages. And I looked and I thought, oh, that looks like Gabby Petito's tent on those pictures. But I'm not from America, so a lot of people messaged me and said, hey man, these are tents that like you just go and a lot of people buy these tents, like it's a normal tent. It's not like a, you know, like something that stands out, but it's still something to look at. You still got to look at the tents and all that kind of stuff. But that was a connection between the two of them, between John Holt and Brian Laundrie. John Holt is an interesting one. Yeah. But if I go back to my original suspect, the first person that I talked to the police about and the parents and emailed all that stuff over, he was very angry. He was staying in a campsite close to where their campsite was, a similar campsite. He had a couple of trucks and stuff, and it was weird because like a week later he was very angry that he went to Salt Lake City to get a bus, like a Greyhound bus from Salt Lake City, and he was very angry that they weren't open 24 hours, which was something that, one of the things that I thought, okay, this guy could be involved in it. So yeah, but my main suspect was still Dylan Wade Spellman, which was involved in the home invasion in Nevada. And then DNA was found on the two girls, well, the lesbian couple that were killed in Texas. His DNA was found on, his pubic hair DNA was found on her underwear. And he didn't get caught for that. So many things about his two crimes. There's so many things here that add up. So many things that makes me think he's the number one suspect. The polygraph test, he failed that. One of the things he actually said to the police officer when he was doing the polygraph test was, how much time am I looking at? So he was pretty much saying, oh, I'm guilty, you know. Yeah, the police officer asked him questions. How do you refer yourself during the crime here in Nevada? With numbers. So in his first crime, they were comparing themselves with numbers. So the people involved in the crime were using numbers to identify themselves and using numbers to identify the other people.